Hello, I am the Ronin Pawn. It's 4 a.m., August 1st, 2017, and I'm broadcasting because I'd just like some friends to show up and chat. I got a hell of a story to tell, as you may have gleaned, but I don't know if I really have it in me to tell the story at 4 a.m. on August 1st, 2017. Rest in peace, Pawn, says Lampman88. This is why I turn it on. Hello, Victini. This is why I live stream. I just wanted to have some friends and chat. Blind gaming. Good God, what are you doing up? Kev Glob. Oh no. Oh no indeed. So, if you were at the last live stream, and many of you were, oh boy, says Wesley Biting Cortos Santos. If you were at the last live stream, then you will know that 2 nights ago, a battered woman showed up on my front door asking for asylum, and I called the police for her. We waited an hour and a half, called the police 6 times, 3 911 dials and 3 to direct offices, and the police did finally come out an hour and a half later after I had confronted the man in the street, him wielding a baseball bat and I a samurai sword. Nothing happened there. There was no contact made. There was just a lot of words exchanged, and after being able to report that to them, they finally dispatched someone after an hour and a half. And the police finally showed up. That's my estimate. Could have been longer. When they showed up, they cornered the man in the house. Long story short, they cornered the man in the house that he and the battered woman had been sharing, and decided at end to just walk away because he was hiding in a place that they didn't want to go because they felt it would be unsafe for them to turn a corner, and that if they did, they'd probably just have to shoot blindly into the night and probably kill him. So they decided, we're just gonna leave him in the house that you two share, which is about 5 doors down from my house. I can see his porch from my porch after I had a run-in with him in the middle of this. We're just gonna leave you, battered woman, in this situation. That's what they decided. They sent me home because I was saying, that's a shit idea. They sent me home because they didn't want to hear it. What happened, Blind Gaming? He has emerged victorious. Well, in a sense, Pawn, if you could just start your click streams around this time every night, that'd be great. This is right after I get off of work, says Lampman88. This is a nice time for me too, says Hoyos. And squatting in illegally, don't forget that part. Yes, they're squatting in it, although depending on how long you've been there, it can or cannot be illegal. So, I found out from her the next day that they decided to do nothing and they left. And then police came by. I had to call him again because he was there on the porch and she was in the house and something went flying out one of their windows. And so I called 911 again, and they took, again, an immense amount of time to come, and they finally came. Long story, very short. And I spoke to an officer who finally left me with a sense of confidence, who said, I don't know what the hell happened over there last night, but we're going to go over there and we're going to do it right this time. He gave me the sense that he was recognizing that there is no way in hell that you leave that man in that house after everything that he had done. They were shouting back and forth at each other. He was throwing things at the cops out of the windows. He broke 2 windows at least that night, throwing things at the police on the ground, and at the end, the police decided, he wins, we go home, deal with it. I was just about to go to sleep, but no, Pawn's just gotta take that away. Sorry, Blind Gaming. Holy shit, are you okay, says Noah Craw. Well, in a sense, Victini, thank you for the cheer. I don't have the cheer overlay. Victini cheers 5, a victory payment. Spend it wisely, my champion. I don't have the overlay on because I just threw this live stream together. It's 10 years before it's illegal to remove someone from a property they don't own, says Lampman88. Hey, Pond, why don't you marry that girl? Wow, those cops suck. He had threatened my home, my person. He had threatened this woman. And all of that was on the record. All of that was right there, that I had stood toe-to-toe with him in the street. She had marks on her, and in the state of Michigan, I don't know if it's all across the country yet or not, but in the state of Michigan, a battered woman does not have to press charges because we have realized that battered woman syndrome is a thing, and women tend in this situation to not press charges, so the police automatically press charges. Because otherwise, these woman hitters would just go walking. Because part of battered woman syndrome is to just believe that there's no way that you could be without this person. So, there was no justifying why, when they are in the house, and he's up the stairs around a blind corner, and they're standing at the stairs and saying, we're not going up there, there is no justification for why they leave him there. Because they left him there, I had to call them again. I get a cop come out, he gives me a sense of confidence just by admitting and acknowledging that something here clearly was done wrong last night. We're going to go over and write it right now. Turns out, they really couldn't do anything, because he ran before they rolled up on the house. He darted. So, they took a statement from her, they did things the right way as far as procedurally, but in terms of getting this guy off the street, they did not. Tonight, I am eating dinner. What's that mark on your neck, says Victini. Oh, that's just the blood. That's just the blood that had dripped down from here. That's not. There's no wound here. It's... Let me give you a good shot. They didn't take him off the street. They couldn't catch him that time. They decided to release him the night before. They decided to just not do their jobs the night before. So tonight, I'm finishing up dinner, and she comes knocking on the door again. And maybe I should have just turned her away. She comes knocking on the door again, and apparently one of her friends has already called 911. But they aren't coming. So, I say, well, first, let's just wait. Let's just wait. We know how long this takes. Let's just wait. And maybe we wait for about 15, 20 minutes, and then finally I decide I'm going to call 911. And I call 911, and I report it doubly, and we wait. And another hour and 15 passes. And she decides this time, I can't just stand here. I can't do this. I'm just going to walk on. I'm just going to walk on. And she asks me if I'll walk her to the end of the street. She's going to turn left, and she's just going to start walking. She says, the police come by. You tell me I started walking that way. I'm just going to walk on. I can't deal. So I accompany the woman to the corner, to the end of the street, to send her on her way safely. And the fella sees this from the house, decides he's going to come out. He comes out. And she starts yelling immediately, here he comes, here he comes. And I say, get back in my house, go lock the door. And I keep myself about halfway between him and her. And she's, turning and going, oh, he's gonna. And I'm saying, get back in the damn house. And he's walking up, and he's walking up, and he's walking up. And I put my hand out, and I stop him right there. Put my hand on his chest. Boom. You're not getting any closer. And then the fight began. And he threw the first punch, and I was expecting it, but he still managed to land it. Which is probably why there's a little bit of this. Not sure. Could have been the chunk of wood that he pulled off of the side of the road when he started losing. I started fighting back. Neither of us really landed any significant blows until I managed to sort of tie him up, and he went down on his ass. And when he went down on his ass, he stumbled toward the edge of the road, and on the edge of the road was a pile of shit. Not literal shit. Pile of wood and things. Old rotted wood planks. Challenger approaches, says Victini. Sorry, but your princess is in another panel. Knew some shit was going on if Pawn's live at 1 a.m. Indeed, Brent Geary. He fell toward a pile of rotted wood and just abandoned stuff on the side of the road, so when he came back up, and she shouted when I threw him down to the ground, she shouted, "Get him!" You know, as though to say, well, he's down. And damn my compassion. I should have. He came back up with a piece of wood. Like, you know, long-ass piece of wood. Rotted, soft. And he swung it, and I did this. And you might be able to tell that there is a sizable bump. It's gone down a bit. It's gone down a bit. It was about the size of half a golf ball right in there before. Boom. Wood breaks in half, and maybe that's when I really caught this, because I don't think he punched me and cut me. I think maybe I did that, and the wood broke. Came across my face and got a little cut in. But it wasn't the whole piece of wood, so he came with the piece of wood again and came from the other side, and I did this. And I think at that point what was left of the wood broke on my forearms. Yeah, there's a bruise there. Broke on this forearm right there and came around and hit me in the back of the head. And this one has gone down as well. The swelling. To a degree. It's still there. But so there was a fight, and he picked up a weapon, and I just stood there and blocked and let him know that I wasn't moving. And he ended up walking off again after that little thing. So, obviously, we're back in the house calling 911 to add to the story. Maybe we can make this story good enough that the Detroit Police Department and 911, you know, as individual entities... Oh, I'm sorry. Did I bump the audio? Oh, I'm sorry. I think we're okay. Maybe we can make this story good enough that they'll actually send someone out. I'm imagining either an Assassin's Creed 4 fight or a Dark Souls fight. Not sure which one, says Victini. Think Wii Sports boxing with more flailing. Flying gaming. That Batman shirt got Pawn in trouble. Yeah, it's a little bloodier than it was before. I don't think you can see it on the camera. Maybe we can make this story good enough that they'll actually dispatch police this time, so I call and tell them I've just fought a man, I'm bleeding from the face, I got welts on me from where he hit me with the wood that he pulled up from the side of the road. Can you please send an officer by? And she starts taking my information, and this process takes 4 or 5 minutes every time I do it, so we're going through it for 4 or 5 minutes. And meanwhile, the woman is at the front of my house, looking out the house. She says, here he comes, he's coming again. And I say, lock the door and get back here behind me. So she gets into the kitchen, and he's out there, front of the house, with another piece of wood he found. And this time, he starts breaking my windows. Which was what I went out there to stop him doing in the first time on night 1, when I knew he was coming back because he'd got his druthers to do something. That's why we faced off with the katana and the baseball bat. Because I figured this guy's gonna start breaking the windows on my house if I don't go out in the street and stop him. I prevented it that night. This night, I didn't think that I could protect her and go out on the street. And also, he had a great big plank of wood. And, yeah. I don't know, in the moment, it felt like I trusted my gut. It felt like, don't go out, let him break the windows this time. I am on the phone with 911 as this is happening. The glass is shattering. He's breaking out windows here and the other. He's shouting in. He breaks out my front window, my other front window, my other front window, round the corner front window, round the corner front window, tries to hit the one in the kitchen, doesn't manage to get that, gets the 2 dining room windows. This goes on for a minute, probably. I'm running around the house, breaking my windows in my house. I'm on the phone with 911. 911 is like shouting at me to give her more information. I'm like telling her everything I possibly can about the thing while I'm standing between this guy and this woman. She's in the kitchen now, and one of the times that he strikes the window, maybe he hit the house or maybe he hit the window a certain way, but damn, that sounded like a gun. Just 2 nights earlier, somebody threw a firecracker while the cops were in the house, and I knew the moment that is not a gun. That's a firecracker. It was a thin pop. He must have hit some siding or something like that, or maybe just the way he contacted the glass, but it sounded like a gun. Boom. So I'm moving her into the back of the house, get to the back of the house, because if he can see through the windows and he's got a gun, back of the house, move back, and she is meanwhile trying to push past me. I gotta go out, he's breaking your windows, he's breaking your house, if I go out there, he'll stop, let me go past you, let me go out. Like, you're not going out there, this is property. It's crazy man outside with a plank of wood who beats you regularly. You want to go outside and see if you can just end this? Get behind me. So I'm like, holding her back is now my job, because she's trying to push past me. Well, holding my samurai sword because it was the nearest thing. I really wasn't prepared for this moment. We were going to go get a gun soon. I looked up, like, what forms I have to fill out for, I got to go down to the police department and sign a thing, and then they give me a thing, I can go buy a gun with it. I was going to go do that. In a couple of days, a week. I thought this was over. It's a little too slow on the uptake there. Pawn, did you pay your insurance this month? It's Detroit, man. The cost of insurance would bankrupt every person who needs insurance in Detroit. So he breaks out all these windows. I'm holding her back. I'm a samurai sword in my hand just to have something. And then he gets on my front porch, knocks out as much glass as he needs to, and starts stepping through the window. He's coming into my house. He's coming into my house through the window, and I'm on the phone with 911 still. And speakerphone's right there. Telling her he's coming in my house, he's in my house. Meanwhile, I am now reaching over. I got the samurai sword in one hand, and I'm reaching over because I got a big old kitchen knife that hadn't been cleaned yet on the counter. So I get the kitchen knife over in my hand, and for a moment I flip it and grab it by the blade and think, can I put this into his chest the way that I used to? I used to know how to throw a knife. But it was a knife that I had a lot of experience with, and this is a unbalanced kitchen knife that has its own weight to it. Can I throw this and stop him? And I decide, no, don't take that risk. You are far more of a threat with the knife in your hand. So I got the fake katana, and I got the knife, and I'm holding the woman back, who's like, let me go, I'll just leave. This shouldn't be happening to you. And it shouldn't have been. And now he's in my house, and he's still got some big thing with him. I don't even know what he had at that point. Maybe he grabbed some shit of mine when he came through the window. But I've got a small glass end table in a corner with, like, my Buddha, my little mini Buddha stand and that kind of stuff, and a lamp on it. Got a glass there, and then my main coffee table for the living room is a long glass table. Definitely yes to the Pawn Needs New Windows Fund, says Victini 510. If you're donating, I'm sorry, I don't have any of it set up. So, of course, having broke all the windows in the house, here's some more glass to break. Boom, shatters that. Boom, shatters that. Notices that I got my television hanging on the wall on an arm. Swing back, hits that a couple of times, destroys the TV. Sees me standing there, and I'm not moving. I'm just keeping myself between him and her, I'm just looking him straight in the eye with just dead eyes, emotionless. Do whatever the hell you want to do. And then I got one of those, like, 7-foot-tall lights, where it's just a pole that goes up, and then it goes out like that. And then you put the bulb in the top, and one of those 7-foot-tall pole lights. And in the smartest thing that this man has probably ever done in his lifetime, he grabbed that. And he yanked the cord out of the wall, and he held it with the base end at me. And now I got an actual, like, tactical problem here. Because I've got a katana that's about this long that's useless to me because it's blunt edge. And I got a kitchen knife that's about this long that I've already decided I cannot throw with accuracy. And I don't want to not have it. So, 7-foot pole with a nice heavy base that he's coming at me with versus kitchen knife. Fluorescent tubes, says Vic85. They're CFLs. No, one of them actually is an LED, too. So are we suing Detroit PD for not dealing with this sooner? Why, yes, we are blind gaming. Absolutely. So, in this situation, I'm sorry to say if it makes me sound like less of a badass, I'm standing here, I've been blocking this woman for all this time, I got the knife in my hand, I got the thing, it's like, I can't fall back because she's pushing on me, I can't fall forward because he's got a 7-foot thing in front of me, and I'm just, what do I do here? I have run out of options. Short of, chucking knives at the guy that I don't know I can land. And at this point, basically, I start to weaken my hold against this woman behind me. Because the last option that I have is to think, maybe he'll just leave if she just leaves. That's all I got. Short of, like, going at him with the knife and going for the jugular. And apparently I'm not there. I'm not that guy yet. Thank God. Don't ever want to be that guy. So, I start, like, weakening my hold on her to see if she's serious about going forward, and she is serious about going forward, and she walks around me and heads out the front door, and as soon as she walks past, he walks out the front door, they go walking down the street next to each other with him yelling at her, they get to the end of the street, she walks one way, he walks the other way. I'm sorry, makes me sound like less of a badass, but I ran out of options. Like, let's try this. And it worked, and that's almost more disheartening. Because all this time I was protecting her from him, and then he finally, like, gets into my house, puts me in a situation where I decide, alright, go. Let's see what happens. I'm here with a knife. I can back you up if he turns to you. And, yeah, he just left the house. They walked away, yelled at each other, and then split direction when they got to the end of the street. She went one way, he didn't mind it, he went back into the house, probably pissing himself, realizing, oh shit, that guy was on the 911 call, and now they're really coming. Yeah. That's what happened tonight. I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 broken windows, 2 coffee tables shattered, in my living room that I called a friend, he came over and helped me clean up until 3 a.m. Called my dad, and he came over and tacked some boards up to some cardboard thin stuff. It's nothing. But, we tacked them up to the windows, at least for a sense of security. I just came here because I needed, like, I just needed to, like, I didn't even know that I had it in me to even tell the story. I just needed to, like, see you guys and feel that there was some kind of support out there, My buddy Greg came over and he supported me strong, and I'm really thankful for that. My dad showed up and did what he needed to do. We went down to the precinct, the 11th precinct, after we spent an hour and a half, 2 hours, cleaning up 2 of the rooms full of glass, and it ain't done because I'll be pulling glass on my feet for the next 6 months. That's stuff you just don't get up. But he drove me down to the 11th precinct here in Detroit to give my statement. We went in and the officers, they called him back in to let me know what happened because they went their separate ways. And that was, 911, the cops did come. he was like over at the house. He's walking over to the house still. Maybe he was already in the house. I feel like he was still like walking toward the house. I say, there's the house. There's the guy who's walking in the house right now. Go get him. See what he did? See what he did? Go get him. And they're like, whoa, slow your roll. Let's get the whole story here. They went after him. By the time they went after him, he had already bolted. He had already bolted from the house. So, again, for a moment, this evening ended in we don't know what happened. But, while I was standing outside and while the police kept coming by, asking me, hey, are you okay? You want an ambulance? Should we get EMS out here? I'm going, I have to pay for 7 windows. I need a new TV. Ambulance ride in the city of Detroit? If I needed it, I would still hesitate. I think I'm going to be okay. I can do a live stream to get through the concussion. We love you, Roy. We need you to stay safe. Maybe should have listened to the advice to buy a gun as soon as you mentioned moving there, says Lampman88. I should have been a little faster on the uptake to get a gun. Like today, I was researching like which pistol would I get and what are the costs and that sort of thing and how to get one and all that. I was on my way to doing it. I can tell you for realsies, I wasn't going to get it done in the next couple of days. I didn't feel it was that urgent of a priority. Surely the statistics on events such as these would be, if it happens to you once. It's my old PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds ideas that lightning doesn't strike at the same place twice, which yes it does, because lightning rods. Oh god. Oh yes, the cat, says Hoyo's streaming, and it's Hojo's, but Rudolph Nord. Hi, probably I have to watch this from the beginning, says Rudolph Nord. Yes. Oh, you've done good, Pawn. How are the cats after all this? Oh yes, the cats. The cats, thankfully, apparently hid in this room behind the green screen, because when the cops did finally arrive, I just went right out the front door and left it gaping open, because I wasn't even thinking about it, Doors wide open, shoot. All the windows are busted out. Might as well have a breeze. I left it wide open when we finally came back in after 20 minutes of excitement on the front porch. I was like, oh god, where are they? Where are they going to be? They probably ran out. Paws definitely ran out. And in the end, I found them just hiding behind the sheet back here. Well, Paws eventually came out. Bags was still laying back there, thank god. So the police came. He bolted. They started seriously patrolling the neighborhood in a way that they did not do the first night. And while the police were talking to us, getting our statements, getting just the cusp of our statements of what had gone on, I hadn't gotten a chance to say much anything. They get some radio calls, and they stop us and say, we gotta go, and they jump in the car and they take off, because apparently they had found him. A few minutes later, fire department rolls up, which is like, the hell is the fire department here for? They stop in front of my house. Why did they send the fire department? And I'm thinking, well, maybe it's for the EMS side of things, but they just kind of sit there, You got the chief sitting in the chief's car, and they get the fire truck behind the chief, and they're just kind of chilling. And I walk up to the car, and I'm like, hi. What are you guys here for? Are you here for me, or why is the fire department on scene? Turns out, the police have the guy caught on a roof somewhere. They chased him up the roof of a house. He went up the roof. So they need the fire department ladder to go up and get him. I couldn't make this shit up, could I? So they hang out in front of my house for 7, 8, 10 minutes because they apparently have the address for my house for the call, and nobody gave them the address to where the guy is actually holed up anymore on the streets, and I guess he got a couple of streets away because I don't know exactly where the cars are. I don't see the lights. They hang out on my street for a little while. They take a partial statement, but they're fire department. They're taking a statement for different reasons. They don't really get a real thing, a real sense of what happened out of me. I got fatigue issues, man. I got chronic fatigue syndrome over here. I'm defending a woman in the middle of the night. Man, when this was all over and we were cleaning up, oh. And then when we went to the police station, so dehydrated, just felt like I needed to vomit. I need to look up before I go to sleep tonight. Is dehydration a part of a concussion? Is that a symptom of a concussion? For fuck's sake, this guy. So it's finally over, says Noah Craw. Alright, we'll blow the ending. It's finally over. They did get him. I don't know the details of whether they shot him off the roof or whether they took him off of the roof, but when we went to the police station to give my report, they told me, first off, we don't need your report. We already got all the information we need from you, but in a couple of days, a detective will get a hold of you to collect your report. And I asked, well, what happened with the guy? And they said, we got him. He's off the streets. That's all that really matters, right? And I said, yeah, except for the coming lawsuit, I definitely want to get my statement down on paper, because this thing started 3 nights ago, and it happened tonight because Detroit police did exactly the opposite of their jobs 3 nights ago, when they let that guy remain in the house and on the streets, when they had every reason to arrest him. Victini says, breaks wood over Pawn's head, chases him into his house, breaks like 7 windows, grabs a light bar as a weapon, takes this bitch, then climbs a fucking roof. Who is this guy? If you vomit, don't sleep, says Blind Gaming. What? Wait. It's not Pawn. Okay. Dehydration, not part of a concussion. It's just chronic fatigue syndrome and being dehydrated, probably. The 2 of those. Been drinking water. Yeah, so that's been my night. I got some pictures. I could show you. Why don't I show you some pictures? Shoot, this will be fun. It's gonna take me a second. But hell, we're here. Everybody wants to see, right? It'll be fun. Everybody wants to see what actually happened. I'll put my phone into my computer here, and we'll do some USB transfers. I'll pull the pictures up on the live stream for you. You're gonna love this. Stay tuned for Action 7. News every hour on the pawns. Every pawn on the pawns. Transfer files to another device. Thank you very much. Signs and symptoms of a concussion may include headache or a feeling of pressure in the head, temporary loss of consciousness, confusion or feeling as if in a fog, amnesia surrounding the traumatic event, dizziness or seeing stars, ringing in the ears, nausea, vomiting, slurred speech, delayed response to questions, appearing dazed, fatigue. Well, there's a lot of fatigue involved in all of this. It's doesn't help anyone you've got crossover symptoms that you tend to have on a regular basis, does it? And it does make it kind of harder to figure out what the hell's going on. Whew. Quick help. Looking at stuff, dehydration has nothing to do with concussions. Thank you. That's the only major symptom. The only reason that I even thought about it was because I'm pretty sure just about everyone who has a concussion starts out saying, I feel fine. I don't, and then you go to the hospital, they say, you've got a concussion, don't go to sleep. And you're like, why? And then I think Pong can Google that himself, says No Crow. What? The symptoms? No, I appreciate it, and I appreciate you guys just being here and talking to me. What makes you think Roy's new security system before the gun is that he rigs the house with cameras and sets up to stream the event to Twitch for recording? The stupidest thing that I did tonight was I've got the security system, and it didn't occur to me in the chaos of the moment I was on the phone with 911 when he started coming up to the house. It just didn't occur to me to hit the panic button on the security system, which would have done absolutely nothing. They would have called me and said, we can call the police for you. That doesn't help in Detroit. But what it would have done was, while he was breaking the windows and coming in the house, he would have heard, wah, 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 wah. And maybe I could have saved a couple of windows. But I'll tell you, the reason why it didn't occur to me is because the last time I went to use my security system, I found out that the Detroit police don't respond to security calls. And they would have responded to this, absolutely. But I'd already sort of been conditioned to believe that there was no hope there. To believe that there was no help to be had from my security system, and that the only real purpose of it as it existed today was so that when I was out of the house, I would be able to know if the alarm went off. And then I've got a web camera, and I can turn that on and see if there's someone actually in my house. And if I can say, there's someone in my house, I got video of it right now, then the police will dispatch. But it just never, I had already been conditioned by the fact that the police department of Detroit doesn't respond to such things. And it just never occurred to me. I've discontinued my ADT account. It took them 59 minutes to send an unarmed van to my house. I live in Vegas. Worthless other than the audible alarm. Panic buttons are great and all, but in the moment of panic, people don't think of things like hitting a button that makes noise, but does not actually help in any way. It's true. Oh, it's sadly true. Give me a media file link here. Let's head over to my my F drive, and let's pull these photos over so we can show you some of what happened tonight. Shall we get a nice selfie to start with? Nice selfie of before I cleaned it up. It's pretty good, huh? It's a pretty good shot. Don't you think? I clean up nice. I'd say. Wouldn't you? The F drive? Yeah, I've actually labeled the F drive fuck, because when I went to configure it, I had so much problems. The F drive. Build a safe room / closet, says Brent Geary. Won't save my Windows. Clearly. Save for that tender. So there's pawn bleeding. Let's see if I can't just change the image instead of having to load one after another. Hey, here's a shot. Here's a nice shot. So, yeah. Broken window, glass. Let me just put this down a little bit so we can just, so, broken window. Paul, why are you being so silly? So there's a couple of broken windows in my house. 2 to start with. Shall we carry on? You know what? Webcam, can you do this? Can we do the film news at 11? Action film news at 11. Ronan Pawn on the scene. Tonight in northeast Detroit, young man, after calling the police, waited an hour and a half, and when they did not come, or about an hour and 15 minutes this time, I think, and when they did not come, ended up defending his home from a woman-beating assailant who the Detroit police had let go free the night before. Here's the images of the chaos, the aftershots of the damage done. Ladies and gentlemen, some of the images that you'll be seeing are indeed graphic tonight, and if you have any children, you may want to pull them away from the television. It's just broken stuff. It's just broken stuff. But, yeah, that used to be my coffee table there. Hi, coffee table. Bye, coffee table. That was my coffee table. What else we got in here? What's this? It's broken window. Kind of hard to tell what the hell that shot is. Take most of these pictures in relative darkness because, you know, some of the light that he used to attack me with was not available to me to use. There we go. Yes, I do have an impressive collection of beer cans underneath that table. You caught me. I've been saved that I haven't returned beer bottles since 2016. Well before 2016. It's not a sign of just how much I Pawn, why are you being so silly? My guess is that you were like, family, we have a saying, you have to laugh or you'd cry. Indeed. Dude, this is Detroit news. This is Detroit news. The real Detroit news. Not the bullshit that you get on the Detroit news. Not the stuff about, we've improved our priority 1 response rate since the bankruptcy. No, this is the news where I show you my television after the attack and tell you that their priority 1 response. By the way, priority 1 response is for things like this, while it's going down, which is why the police were dispatched and did show up in about 10 minutes after, you know, I was screaming through the phone saying, you know, here they go. I was still on 911, so maybe it's too much to say 10 minutes, okay? Maybe I'm starting to exaggerate. Let's say I was on the phone with 911, he started beating in the windows and coming through the window. That was like a 2 minutes there, and then he left and went down the street with her. I'm going to say police response, 7 minutes. When I finally got a priority 1. Problem with the idea of having priorities like that is that the things you can prevent are done. They've become a priority 1 by the time you get there. If you don't go to priority 2 for an hour and a half, it becomes a priority 1. Might be a problem. Might be why we have so many issues in the city of Detroit. What's this of? It's just another angle on my my broken... That was my little corner coffee table. This glass coffee table as well that had my little Buddha on it. Buddha's fine. Some of the ceramics didn't fare so well. Yes, there will be a lawsuit against the city of Detroit because I cannot imagine that there is any justification for what they did on the first night that allowed this man to still be on the streets, which gave him the opportunity to do all of this and all of this. Oh, oops, I just took a little bit of my blood off. Here's a shot. So that's where I sleep. I sleep down there. I like to sleep on the floor. I've got a mattress. I just moved it upstairs, but it's good for my back. I sleep on the floor. That's where I sleep. That's the window that's right over my head. It shattered the glass into my bedding there. Wee woo, kitty alert. I've got there's a lot of photos here. I don't want to bore you with all of them, but some of them are fun. For example, that's my front porch right now. Yeah, it's still that way. I didn't manage to clean that up. There's a lot to be done tomorrow. Did manage to clean up the living room so I have a place to sleep. And the dining room, but I did vacuum the living room. We got it to the point where I could vacuum it. I'm going to have to cut out the chunks of glass that are hanging in my windows tomorrow. I was a little bit afraid to let the kittens out, so I did just enough work that I could let the kitties out and move about the house, and if they jump up on the windowsills, they're not going to get sliced. But there is a lot left to be done, and one last photo, there's more that I could show you, but one last photo that, I don't know, just feels like me, just feels like my kind of thing. That is the cat's water dish. That's not crystal meth either, that's glass. So, don't ever be barefoot in this house again. Well, that's the thing, Victini. I'm walking around barefoot in the house now after cleaning, even though I know I'm going to get chunks in my foot because my chronic fatigue, it really, really sucks the energy out of me to wear shoes. And maybe it's just I got bad shoes or something, but I can't. I need to be barefoot as often as I possibly can, so I'm willing to take a couple of shards of glass in my feet to be able to have the energy. Oh, that's bad. Glass is meth, Pawn. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, Jesus, Pawn. That's enough of photo time with Pawn. Although, wait. Because I really do think this is... Can I have it? Get house slippers. Comfy slippers fun? Comfy slippers fun for Pawn? I've got... Thank you guys for coming out and just making me feel a little less alone in the world. I mean, Greg came out. I got friends who came out for me. My dad came out. That was a thing. Just not gonna even talk about that. But, you know, I got friends in this world. I got people who care about me, but, you know, they had to go home. And at 4 a.m. on August 1st, 2017, I know that I can reach out to you guys, and you'll be here just for an ear, which is what I wanted. There's going to be, presumably, some serious content about this on YouTube as well as Twitch in the near future, and I will be contacting some lawyers in the city of Detroit. Might see what Jeffrey Feiger is up to. He's a big fan of suing the city, but I can't imagine that there's any justification for what those cops did on night 1, and because they did what they did on night 1, there was a night 2, and there was a night 3, and on night 3, I sustained injuries, both physical and fiduciary. My parents are mad at me for being on the phone while packing up, but honestly, I don't give a F. Noah is on his way to Italy. Enjoy those sunny beaches. Make sure you hit one of the nude ones. Roy is the good guy and didn't take the option. What option? Peter Taylor, the option to kill or to cuddle. Somebody said something about cuddle. Go cuddle with the kittens. They will like it. And probably you will too. I will. Prince J.O., not gonna lie, wish that guy jumped off that roof he fled to. Your family pawn. He might have gotten shot. Hey, always look on the bright side. He might be dead. You weren't wearing the Batman mask, were you? Would have protected your face. I forgot it. You're going to Spain, not Italy. The Spanish, well, do they don't nude in Spain. Go to Italy instead. Go to Italy instead. Always seeing the positive side. That's when it hits self-defense. Yep. I was saying you need a gun to live in this town, and now I can't afford a gun. I gotta buy windows. I gotta buy 7 windows. And a television. I mean, I don't need the television. I'll just live stream more. What do you guys think? Good idea? Physically and fiscally. Kitty cuddles heal all emotional wounds, even if only for a short time. I think I'm finally at a point where I might be able to just go lay down. Right, Gary, windows are just glass. Yeah, I gotta replace the windows. They're old windows. They're cheap around here. Hamtramck, hardware places have windows that have been, popped out of people's homes by looters for $25. I mean, they don't say it that way, but that's what they're there. That's why you can get them so cheap. So I can get, relatively recent vinyl windows for $25 a piece. So it's a doable expense. It's way more work than I have it in me to do, and my dad is trying to move into the house, and so the idea of him having to come out and help put windows into and he wasn't too happy tonight. Wasn't very supportive. Windows are cheap because of the high supply and demand. Who needs lights, says Pondophile. Yeah, we just box all the windows up, stick bricks in it. Take a break, Roy. Adrenaline has got to be running out right about now. Oh, surprisingly, I was very calm through the whole thing. Adrenaline didn't hit me the way that it did night 1. Yeah. Yeah, it hasn't been adrenaline. It's just fatigue. It's just fatigue, and then I look at, there's a certain window out in the front where it's there's an inner window, and then there's the outer one. There's the window that goes down, and that was up when he broke it. So there's that window, and it's shattered and has all these spiky teeth coming in, and then there's the window, the upper window that's behind it, where it always is, and there's all these spiky teeth on that one, and then behind that was a storm window that he broke in the same, and so there's all these spiky teeth, and every time I look at that, I just feel like it's impossible to fix this. I look at that and go, I can't fix that without killing myself somehow. Something is going to fall when I touch it, and it just saps the energy just to look at that. Don't buy Windows, just use Linux, says Blind Gaming. And on that note, I think we're going to call it a night. Thank you for showing up in the middle of what is now morning. I apparently needed to talk about it, but more so I just needed to be able to look over into chat and see you guys here, and see you guys being supportive and joking too, because that's the thing. When heavy things happen, try and make them as normal as possible. Don't up the ante on the drama. When there's drama all about, let's just tone it down. Let's see if we can laugh about it. And that's what I came here for, and you guys have helped me quite a bit. Sorry this happened, Pawn. Good night, says Brent Geary. Good night to you. Good night to everyone. I am the Ronin Pawn. I will see you on a better day. Pawn out. I'm sitting here very still because, you have to leave a little after roll in order to make sure that the ending actually gets caught by... If you don't do it, then especially YouTube, they will just cut you off right